The more you love yourself, the more you begin to recognize that there is some magic at work in your life. The way things happen, what people go through, what they experience, what you go through. That there's something greater at work in all of it. And if you've been alive for long enough, you know who you are and why you're here, and the effect that your being yourself has on everybody. And yet it's still totally mind-blowing to witness the unfolding of the individual. And awe-inspiring. I guess it's the equivalent of being a gardener, planting daffodil seeds, or bulbs. Bulbs, or seeds, which one? Whatever. Bulbs, thank you. And then being surprised or being in awe of the fact that you have daffodils. You know you planted the bulbs, but watching the daffodil come into fruition, well, that's magical. That's miraculous. So, we're living at a point where the bulbs are becoming daffodils every day. We knew that they would, but how they're emerging into their beauty and their uniqueness is mind-blowing. So the more you love yourself, the more you recognize that there's some magic at work. Okay, now on to the next part. What happens as it relates to those bulbs or daffodils, or whatever the plural for daffodils is? Maybe daffodils is the plural for daffodil. Whatever. Well, that was already predetermined. So the way the bulb came into your life, that captured the essence of the potential of the daffodil itself, was already predetermined. The way the daffodil itself emerged from the bulb and went through its developmental progressions, well, that was already predetermined. And then the point at which that beautiful manifestation of life begins to wither and fade away, well, that was already determined by life. And I'm using a gardening metaphor to try and help you understand my relationship with you. You see, I have no fear or concern or attachment or requirement around any of it, because it was all already designed a very long time ago. The time that you're supposed to be here for, you will be. And you'll show up in whatever capacity you were always meant to. And of course, when you end up here, I know why you're here. And at the deepest level, you know why you're here. And yet it never ceases to amaze me how you evolve into the totality of yourself. Just like in planting the bulb, you know you planted the potential of a daffodil. You're not all of a sudden going to get a rose. No, you planted a bulb that has the potential of becoming a daffodil, emerging into being a daffodil. So you're going to get daffodils. But how that daffodil forms and emerges is awe-inspiring and beautiful to behold. And this is life right now. Life right now, every day, one of these daffodils displays the totality of its beauty and the complete manifestation of its essence. And you always knew it was going to happen. You just never could have imagined how that potential could uniquely manifest itself in the world, or the evolutionary journey that it undergoes to be able to do so. And of course, as soon as the beauty and the totality of the manifestation of the daffodil presents itself, you also have to entertain the potential of it not being there anymore. And once you recognize that all of this was predetermined, that the way in which everything unfolds, the way in which everything plays out, is actually perfect, then you don't have any fear anymore about anything. You can't have any particular attachment to how. And you also can't be afraid of the fact that one day that daffodil won't be there anymore in its present form. And this is life. It's just life. And this is all of you. Now, if you're spiritual, you'll say that you're just living out soul agreements, or you know your being is drawn to wherever it's supposed to be. It's there for however long it's supposed to be there for. And then when it's not meant to be, it won't be there. So if you're spiritual, well, then you can apply that to basically everything in your life. Your personal life, your business, your finances, relationship with family members, siblings, the world. All of a sudden you realize that this is totally transferable to everything, this truth. You see, the reason why human beings are so sad when something ends is because they didn't make the most of it while it was still here. So when something changes its form, the reason why people have a hard time with that is because they didn't realize that they were living through history. They didn't realize that they were living through the golden years, the good old days. Human beings have this false notion of forever, that everything is a forever. Well, the only thing that's a forever is your being. Everything else is going to come and go. Everything else is going to ebb and flow. Everything else is going to shift and change. But if you're hanging your hat on things being forever, if you're hanging your hat on that daffodil staying in its magnificent form forever, then you're going to be disappointed and you're going to suffer. So let's play this out for a second. Many of you now are old enough to recognize that your family members, your parents, let's start with the obvious, are here for as long as they're supposed to be here for. One day they won't be. Your siblings are here for as long as they're supposed to be here for. One day they won't be. Your children are here for as long as they're supposed to be here for. One day they won't be. Your significant other, your spouse, your ex, and everything in between, well, they're here for as long as they're here for. One day they won't be here either. Your friends are here for as long as they're here for. One day they won't be here. In fact, one day, none of us will be here. So the question is, if there's a perfection and a magic to life, and everybody shows up when they're supposed to, and everyone leaves when they're supposed to, and everything shows up when it's supposed to, and everything will leave when it's supposed to as well, then why not just revel in the magic, knowing that it might not be here tomorrow? Or alternatively, we can assign the label of forever on the impermanence of life, and then be disappointed when life does what life is supposed to do. So what would happen if we lived this way? What would happen if you actually treated everything like this? Isn't this applicable to your finances too? Isn't this applicable to work? To your body? To your relationship with your body? Boy, I bet some of you when you were younger, had you known that you were going to go through some of the stuff that you're going through now, would have made the most of your physicality in its prime. Now, there's nothing that we can do about that, but we can absolutely make the most of everything that we have right now and not take any of it for granted ever again. Because the last time I checked, as a part of the illusion, the simulation, the Maya, impermanence is inherently present. A built-in obsolescence is inherently present within its design. So people are in your life for as long as they're supposed to be. Resources are in your life for as long as you're meant to have them. Relationships are in your life for as long as they're supposed to be. When they're not supposed to be anymore, no matter how much you want them, they won't be. And there's absolutely nothing that you can do about that. And it's magical to see how everything happens. It's magical to watch it unfold. The best part, the highlight for me, is witnessing that bulb that I know is going to become a daffodil. Finally one day become a daffodil. And in that moment, I know that it's already over. That a point when something reaches its highest manifestation is the point when you have to say goodbye to it. And so, you don't need to hold on to anything or anyone. Nothing is forever except your soul, your being, your essence, the truth of who you are. And my hope is that today you live like it. And that you make the most of everything while it is in its present form. Because one day it won't be. Now, here's the miracle in all of this. What does your participation have to do with any of it? Nothing. You're just blessed enough to be able to witness that daffodil emerge into life and express its evolutionary potential. And that's what being human is. Being human is witnessing something that's cumbersome and clumsy and awkward fully emerge into its peak manifestation. Having that moment of peak manifestation, and then remembering that in that moment of peak manifestation, the built-in obsolescence has already begun. And this is impermanence. Everything comes and goes. Everything begins and ends. Nothing ever stays the same. The body comes and goes. The mind comes and goes. Emotions come and go. Feelings come and go. People come and go. And what ensures the fact that you won't be sad when something ends is the fact that you made the most of it while it was still here. So once that daffodil emerges into the totality of itself and it demonstrates its full potential, you better get out there and ooh and ah at it every day, celebrating its evolution from where it was to where it is now. Because one day, it won't be. You won't be. I won't be. This won't be. None of us will be. Not in this form. Not like this. Not the way we are now. To know this is wisdom. And so many of you have allowed yourselves to access that wisdom, which is why when something in your life changes or someone in your life passes away, you don't find yourself overrun with grief, because you made the most of them while they were still here. For most of you now, this applies to you. Your relationship with yourself, people in your life. So thankfully, for the majority of you, you realize that now you have no control over everything, over anything, actually. And that people are going to come and go as they please. And that this whole thing is just if you're spiritual, some perfect presence performance art. And it's all just happening. Just take a deep breath. So how nice if we finally allow life to be life. We appreciate the evolution of the daffodil from the bulb into its full manifestation. And we also celebrate that in the moment it's in its highest manifestation is the moment that its built-in obsolescence begins. Nothing is forever. No one is forever. No situation or circumstance is forever. Enjoy it all while it's here. Because one day it won't be. And when it's not, no matter how sad you feel about it after the fact, it won't change the fact that you didn't make the most of it while it was here. And even if they do invent some form of time travel in the future, I doubt it would be the same anyway. And this is the gift of life. This is the gift of life. The gift of life is making the most of everything in its present form. Knowing that it won't be. If you're not spiritual, then for you it may be coincidence that things are happening. Serendipity, it's a good word. If you're religious, then it's all God's will that it's happening. No matter how you look at it, there is a grand opening and a grand closing for all of us. That's guaranteed. Question is, what do we do with all the stuff in between, in the middle? So, please don't ever expect anything in your life to stay the same. Don't try and hold on to anyone that wants to leave, and know that you can never make anybody stay, no matter who they are. Everything has to be the way that it is. The magic is real. Everything was predestined and predetermined anyway. And the duration of time that people in your lives is fleeting at best. So make the most of it all. And that way, when it's all done and dusted and everything fades to black, everything returns to dust, everything dissolves into ash, you won't be overwhelmed by sadness. You'll just have an appreciation for the fact that something so beautiful ever existed at all. That something so wonderful could ever be present. Laurel. Thank you, Laurel. This beautiful flower emoji in a rainbow. Close your eyes, open your palms, breathe and relax. Good morning, sweet friends, and welcome to another Call to Calm meditation. I once had the honor and privilege of going to the Santiago Bernabeu in Madrid to watch a football match. It just so happened that I was on tour at the time, the good old days when I was traveling the world, and that it just happened to be an era in Real Madrid history that was one of the greatest. Players like Zinedine Zidane, Luis Figo, Ronaldo, the Brazilian phenom, and our very own David Beckham, not to mention Roberto Carlos, and a whole other lineup of superstars, the likes of which had never graced a football pitch together, at least not on the same team. So life orchestrated this whole unfolding to where I happened to be in Madrid, and I love Madrid, by the way, it's a beautiful city. Not only did I happen to be in Madrid, but Madrid were playing in the Champions League, so they were actually playing on a day when I was available. That the concierge at the hotel happened to have tickets, and that particular constellation of players were actually all fit, and that they would all be gracing the field at the same time. And this is life. That I would end up in a city happen to have a night off, end up at a football match at one of the best stadiums in the world, to watch one of the greatest teams to ever play. But you see, here's the funny thing. That magic was not and is not isolated to that moment. Everything in my life is that, as is everything in yours. The right person, in the right place, in the right moment in human history, going through exactly what you're supposed to go through, having everything unfold in your life in the way that it's meant to be, knowing full well that one day it won't be that way. In my humble opinion, Madrid have not had a better team since. So personally, I'm grateful that I was there to witness this, once in a lifetime, once in a trillion probability that it would ever happen. Beloved, your whole life is a once in a lifetime, once in a trillion probability that any of this is happening. Close your eyes, open your palms, and take some long, deep cleansing breaths. Resting in the awareness of your breath transforms your life into a living meditation. Your breath is not forever. So truly appreciating every inhalation and exhalation while you're blessed enough to have this thing called life. Seated where you are or laying down, with every breath, appreciating this thing that you have called a body. Because your body's not forever. Appreciating what's happening at the level of your mind, your thoughts, your beliefs. Well, because those aren't forever either. Appreciating the feelings that arise, well, because they won't be here one day. And also appreciating the emotions that arise. Because they will fade away too. With every breath, recognizing that this moment is totally improbable. The fact that you are the way you are, the fact that you're alive, The fact that life is expressing itself through you in the way that it is. Totally improbable. And yet it's happening. Continuing to rest in the awareness of your breath. Seeing people coming into your life and leaving your life. Resources coming into your life and leaving your life. Relationships coming into your life and leaving your life. And actually, having the most important realization of all, that one day, life as you know it, for you, will cease to exist. In its present form. There are no forever emotions. There are no forever feelings. There are no forever thoughts. There are no forever beliefs. There is no forever physical condition. There is no forever circumstance or relationship dynamic. There is no forever anything. Feeling a wave of appreciation washing over you. Recognizing that the part of you that is forever is just passing through. That actually, everyone is just passing through. That everything is just passing through. So today, I'm going to breathe like I've never breathed before. Going to make the most of every inhalation and exhalation, because one day, this thing called life won't be here. Today, I'm going to recognize the perfect orchestration that is my life. People come, people go. Situations arise and they subside. Resources ebb and flow. Life is doing exactly whatever it is that it needs to do, and everyone, at the level of their being, knows exactly how they're supposed to show up for us. Holding on to nothing. Holding on to no one. Having no attachment to the present form of anything. Instead, just appreciating it all the way it is right now. In the end, everything ends. Except the Rolling Stones. Somehow they find some way to keep going. Everything other than the Rolling Stones ends. The rest is 1,000% certifiably impermanent, except for them. So continuing to rest in the awareness of your breath and recognizing, maybe for the first time ever, that none of this is forever. Except the Rolling Stones. Yay. Take some breaths. Gently and slowly you can bring your awareness back. Can't tell you how many times they've had their farewell tour. They've been having farewell tours now since, I don't know, the early 2000s. So only Mick Jagger and your soul is infinite. So far. That's it. Everything else, definitely a part of the impermanence of life. Definitely. Do you get the point? We're just passing through. There's no need to hold on to anything. What's meant to be here will be here. And what won't be, will not be. Everything has its own timeline. Every person has their perfect role to play in your life. To live like this is to be free. And it's to live with a sense of appreciation for everything while you have it, knowing full well that one day it won't be. Only your being, only the truth of who and what you are is forever. In my humble opinion, that's what makes this human thing so special. Today is Wednesday, at least in the part of the world that I'm from or currently living in. Let's see. There's a group alignment session today. Group alignment sessions are semi-private. It's an opportunity for people to come and access wisdom, support and energy. They're approximately 60 minutes long. They may end sooner. They may go longer. It's always determined by who's there and how long I feel guided to be there for. There is an impact semi-private this afternoon. impact semi-privates are approximately 2 hours long. That may end sooner as well, depending on how it's supposed to unfold. And then, that's about it for today. That's on our bingo card, at least all the stuff that we know about. I hope you make the most of your bingo card and everything that's on yours.